so we are live. I think there are some people
nice.
join us. Thank you for
That's
joining.
Great. That's great.
Maybe we can give an overview about our session today. So the goal of our session is to talk about program management and product management, and hopefully help folks understand more this PM puzzle that can mean three different professionals. I think historically we used to use PM when referencing product management, but then some people used to program management as well and project management, which is very confusing. And today we decided to focus on our main roles, which is program management and product management. So we are going to spend some time sharing more about the definitions and hopefully help you to have a better understanding of those two different roles. And I feel especially for folks who are looking for a job at the moment, because I feel even at the company level, sometimes they don't fully understand the difference of those roles. So sometimes you might be applying, interviewing for a product manager, but in fact they are looking for a program manager or even like project manager. So we can share some things you can keep an eye on. And Gretchen, do you want to share your intro?
Yes, thank you, Tai. I was going to mention that you are right. It also depends on the companies, right? Sometimes they call product managers a project manager or the opposite. It's like the whole journey. Sometimes we see in companies that some people might have the title of product manager when the reality is that it's more a project management / business management. So we can talk about all of those things. So let's have fun. I'm really looking forward to this session. We were talking about how important Techqueria has been in our journey as professionals and moved to the Bay Area back in the years, and we've been there trying to bring back whatever we have received from this great community. So really looking forward to this session. My name is Gretchen. I was born in Cuba. It was interesting because when I was living in the Bay Area, every time that I was saying that I was Cuban, people were like, oh my God, because there are not a lot of Cubans in the Bay Area. So I think that might be changing with the years. So I work for TD Bank, mostly focused on payments and specifically real-time money movement and some of these money movement capabilities that are happening based on cars or rails and all of that. So that's what I'm doing today. My background is technical. I've been developing my career in product and business for the last years, working at eBay when I was in the Bay Area, then switching to the fintech part at Santander, and now just continue getting more specialized in the payment space, which is quite fascinating. And looking forward to this session with you, because it's always a pleasure to share time with a friend and someone that I appreciate and I love so much. So looking forward to this.
Me too. I love to collaborate with you. So Gretchen and I, we have been friends for the past decade. So we got to know each other in the Bay Area when she was living here in San Francisco. I'm still in the Bay Area, and she's just like such an inspiration for me, a mentor and a friend. So we are very, very excited to have this session. So for me, I have been working as a program manager for the past 10 years. I don't have a technical background, but started to work in tech. First, from the agency side, when I was based in Brazil, I worked for an advertising agency working with tech companies. And then when I moved to the US 10 years ago, and I also changed my career and changed industries. And then I was working as a project manager for a while. And then I learned about this thing called program management. I was like, what is that? I never heard about it. And then I was like, okay, I actually have been doing that for quite a while. And I'm still working as a program manager now, more towards the product side of it. So I think we can share a lot of interesting insights about those two roles. So let's start with the definitions. What is product management, Gretchen?
Yes, that is pretty cool because like we mentioned, everybody might have a different perspective of what a product manager is. But for me, it's about that role within the company that is able to connect the different roles and the different stakeholders in order to build a roadmap, in order to understand what is the product that needs to be deliver in order to capture the different opportunities that the company might see, but even more importantly, that the customers are telling you that you need to do. So it's starting from that perspective, the voice of customer, understanding what needs to happen, understanding the cycle of design and product development, and pushing forward, right? But in the meantime, which is always the most important thing, is the communication, right, with the different stakeholders, where what I love about product is that you are not managing a team, but you need to influence the different players in order to keep pushing with your goals, no? And I think that's where the program management comes to be the best ally for the product person, right?
Yeah. Influence without authority, which I think is very interesting and very difficult at the same time.
100%, and it is completely, and it's also a way of understanding what type of product manager you want to be, right? We see some of these memes that is always about the product manager saying, I have my backlog full, I don't have a space in my backlog, or being the person that is actually sitting and understanding what is coming, what is opportunity, and kind of having a framework to prioritize what you're doing first and then. But again, it's all about soft skills that are not that soft anymore. They are pretty hard, to be honest. And I think that's what we can all benefit when we decide to take this as the path of our careers, right?
Yeah. And I feel for Latinos, we are really good at it. We are really good on soft skills, connecting with people and communication. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. And talking about the program management side, I usually like to share more what is a program, because sometimes it can be very confusing to think about what is this thing. So programs are usually a collection of different projects, and all those different projects are going to help you to achieve your business objectives or your business goals. So a program is not one project. It's a collection of different ones that kind of like connect with each other in a way that they are going to help you achieve your business goals. I think this is the main thing I want you all think in mind when you think about program management. So a program manager is the person that leads the overall program strategy, the person who set the objectives, evaluate the business impact. So a lot of times you're looking outside. What is the business goals? What is happening with your industry, and maybe the changes you need to make in your program that will help you to achieve your goals. And it's a lot of cross-functional work, influencing without authority, because a lot of times you're not the manager of the person, you're not even part of your stakeholders team that might have different goals, different things they are looking at, but you need to talk with them and align in terms of business objectives, so you can work together and they can prioritize your project. And also there's a lot of work in ensuring like align across different projects. So those are the main things. Gretchen, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yes, and I see also a big role in the orchestration part of things, right? When you think about a program, the program manager is looking at what the product might be doing for certain goals, but at the same time is looking at what, let's say there might be another project that is associated with compliance, for instance. Then you have to look at the compliance. You might need to at the same time look at a data hub migration at the same time. And the program manager is definitely the person that is proactively stitching the pieces and orchestrating, behind the scenes. And for each of the parts that are working on the individual project, you might feel that it's seamless, that everything is connected, but the reality is that there is a good program manager behind this that is able to connect the dots to bring the power of 1 + 1 = 3, which is something that I'm seeing more and more important these days. So how can you bring that proactivity to the conversation and say, hey, if you're working on this, why don't you connect with this other person that is working on something similar so you can make it even bigger? So there is an art in that role. And I think that it's quite relevant these days when each of us are probably tending to work in our own silos, which is the opposite of having a successful launch every time that we pursue something. So the program manager plays an interesting role. And at the same time, it's unique because people might not notice that, they don't notice when things go well. They might notice it when something is going wrong, and oh, what happened with the track of the time here? The program manager didn't do the best job. But the reality is that 90% of the time things were going well because of that role that was doing the right thing behind the scenes and seamlessly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will offer one advice. If you're not friends of your program manager, spend some time with them. And I feel like product managers and program managers, they need to work very, very closely. As a program manager, you need to understand that the product manager, a lot of times they are focused on the whys and also thinking about how this product can be offered in the market to solve a problem and satisfy a need of your users. And you need to understand that. And you might be working with different product managers, right? So make sure you're like having one-on-ones with them and fully understanding what are the things they're focusing and also understanding better your users.
100%, Ty. 100%. It's your best ally. That and the analytics person. You need both of them to succeed and tell a beautiful story, to have some insight and information and what it's coming. So, 100%.
Yeah. And how do product managers and program managers collaborate with cross-functional teams and like engineering, marketing, and sales?
Yeah, so I can give you an example, right? It all depends on the product development cycle and where things are. Perhaps you are at the early phase of a product development where it's more about research, and where as a product manager you need to be closer to the research team to understand the methods, to define hypotheses, the plan to test, and all of that. So at that point, the program manager is also understanding like what kind of zooming the capabilities that are needed with the research. Then when you move to development, definitely the engineering team takes a little bit more of that protagonism, if we can call it, and it's more okay, what is happening, what do you need, what are some of those technical things that are needed, like for instance, estimate the amount of data that is coming, prepare the pipelines, these type of things that are more operational, data in, data out, this type of things that are less very technical and less product fancy thing. So that's where the program manager comes. And at the same time is how to go back and connect with the product manager, providing some of the details that the product manager might not be aware of. So I'll give you an example. One of the biggest projects that I worked was when I was at eBay, that we were launching eBay back in India in 2018. It was a massive project. It was about eBay again, sold the eBay platform to another company, and then was bringing it back to relaunch as an eBay presence in the country. So that was massive, and not only because of the amount of work, but it was also because all of this was happening in the middle of December. As you guys might know, when it's moratorium cycle, pretty much all the groups stop coding and stop shipping because you need to kind of prevent things to happen. So the goal for us was launch eBay in India at the end of December. So by January 1st, we had to go live. So my team was literally building everything and turning on all the switches the New Year Eve of 2018. It was very stressful, but that last piece was smooth if we understand that all the work that was done before by the program manager was just impeccable, right? And in that case, it was one woman that was she was doing an amazing job, not only connecting the dots between the different domains. When you think about eBay, you have a homepage, view item page, checkout, everything. You need to kind of turn on all the pieces one by one, connecting, stitching, and being sure that everything is okay. Checking the customer support calls, checking the communication with the leadership team and the stakeholders. So she was instrumental in that success, because it was not only about telling us, hey, you are missing this deadline, hey, did you check this already? And then she was bringing some corner cases that we didn't think about because we were too focused on the execution. So that top-down, bottom-up mindset was very critical in order to have an end-to-end execution that was seamless, right? So I think it's about that. just bringing the details and understanding that you are just crafting a big thing, but you need to start from the bottom up and have that top down mindset. So with that combination, you can definitely achieve a lot more than if you go with your little impact from the product perspective only.
Yeah, yeah, I love your example. And I was thinking about what are the very straightforward and simple things that program managers and product managers can do to help their stakeholders. And I feel a lot of times, maybe for us, it's kind of obvious, right? It's obvious about thinking about the business goals, the objectives. But a lot of times we are working with a lot of stakeholders. They are working with a lot of different projects, a lot of different people, and they might not know, and maybe they forgot. So a lot of times when I send an email or when I start a meeting, I share, oh, this is our goal. Let's talk about what are our business objectives with this project, with this program, with this product. It's just blah. And then this is the meeting goal, and this is the agenda. If we won't have time to talk about all the agenda items, this is the thing we want to achieve in this meeting. Do you all agree? And this is so simple. But at the same time, I feel it makes a big impact, especially when you are dealing with a lot of different stakeholders, leadership, high priority products and projects. That sometimes is hard because we have a lot of important things we need to discuss. But at the same time, maybe this thing we are discussing in this meeting is not a high priority. Maybe we need to do some digging first before talking about this in this big meeting. Or maybe you need to talk with one stakeholder about this, not like 10 people, right? So I think this is very, very simple, very straightforward thing you can apply like your next meeting. And I think another thing that program managers and product managers can think about is like prioritizing tasks and resources, gathering feedback and sharing feedback. I think this is another aspect, because I feel that we have this tendency of like gathering feedback, which is great, but are we sharing the whys? Yes. Are we sharing the feedback we receive? So sometimes this doesn't happen. And also, I think like another thing is ensuring alignment with market needs, go-to-market strategy. So there's like a lot of cross communication, conversation with a lot of different stakeholders, and making sure all those stakeholders are informed, they know what is happening, and also why those things are happening.
Yes, it's a lot of that psychology of that we need to apply. The psychology when we connect with other human beings, how you can turn things around, how you can apply ways of for people to remember that you talk about this, because that's the other thing that happens. You might be in a meeting, and then when you leave, it's like, yeah, do we agree on this? And then suddenly it's like, no, I don't know. This is the first time that I'm hearing about that. So how can you kind of take advantage of some of the visual elements, tools like Trello, for instance, where you can see the progress, you're moving the task, you see where things are stuck or not, having those conversations, trying to bring everybody to the room, which might be difficult, but at least try to identify who are those that are taking the decision. When we think about I really love doing the Daisy or Racy matrix, where you identify from the beginning, okay, who is the person that is approving this, only one if it's possible, or two, who is the person that needs to be informed. Because again, it all depends on the industry, right? When you move to more traditional industries like in the fintech or banking, you see that the number of people that need to say yes to something is even bigger than if you are, I don't know, in some more aggressive environments like e-commerce. So, but even with that in mind, which is a reality, how can you be nimble and just lean enough to say, okay, who is needed right now? Is it mandatory or not? And try to take advantage of that. Recognize that people don't read emails, which is something that is sad, but it's a reality. Like, people don't read email, people probably don't take a look at a Gantt chart, but you still need to do it in a way that is simple enough to see it in a visual way. That's why I love Trello, some of these tools where you just put it in the face, 2 lines, this is what it is, and try to be concise on what you try to achieve on the meetings.
Yeah. And I feel very straightforward with what about the things you need from those specific stakeholders, right? Perhaps we are working together on like, Gretchen, I need you to do X, Y, and Z by this date. Are you okay with that? Yes. Because I think sometimes we are vague.
Yes,
We don't address the person of the team. So everyone is like, okay, they don't know, or probably to your point, they never read your email.
Totally. And that's the other thing. One thing that I'm always struggling is that when someone puts a meeting, and that's a very silly thing, but it's a meeting without an agenda. It's like you're missing the biggest opportunity. Like, what do you want to get from this? What is this meeting about? If not, people feel, oh, one more meeting in my agenda. Let me see. So I think that's the elephant in the room. How can we change that mindset, and how can we be nimble to make people feel happy with what they do, not miserable or slave of a process? So I think that's the balance, and the program manager is playing a key role in bringing that dance to the conversation. No, so I think that's quite critical.
Yeah, and also don't be afraid to be the person that perhaps they started a discussion in a meeting, but those are not the meeting agenda items. So you can say very nicely, oh, I think this meeting is about this other topic. What do you think about us scheduling another time or like asynchronous about this other topic? Or even being that person that we have been talking about this at my company. We want to empower all the team members, all the different teams feel empowered to decline meetings or ask
100%.
questions if the meeting doesn't have a meeting agenda. So
100%.
You can do that in a very nice way, bring your personality, make it fun, like whatever way, but you should be asking those questions.
100%. Replying and say, what is this meeting about? Very gentle and everything, but that's quite critical. I'm still doing this all the time. So yeah.
Yeah. And I think another topic that I think it will be interesting for us to discuss is problem solving. We talk about problem solving a lot. And I was thinking, what this actually means for product managers and program managers, and how their problem solving skills can be used differently depending on your role, if you're a program manager or product manager.
That is very interesting, because I'm being honest, I'm not the type of product manager that is following the book exactly. Then you do this, then you apply a framework to solve this and to solve that. I'm more of that person that will be, you know what, let's connect 20 minutes. Let's sit in person. This is what I mean. Is this what you're looking for? No. Let's sit and connect and have those interactions. Whenever we can do it in person, even better. So, and I have a good benchmark. That was my previous manager at eBay, the last manager that I had. He was very vocal. He was like, okay, we have this issue with the XYZ team. Let me go there. Let me drop there and get the team and sit together and talk. So there's a huge power that is usually underestimated when we think about the human interaction, the eye-to-eye connection. So let's see, what is the problem here? How can we solve this? That's one thing. The other thing, it almost like I said, it feels like you are more of the psychologist of the team, because you need to understand, okay, why is this person reluctant to provide the information? Why is this person not sharing? Or so you need to go behind. It's not the obvious things. I think we should pass that the obvious things and then the checklist. And it's more like, why is this person not doing this? Is it because they don't understand the requirement? Is it because they are probably depending on someone else that is not answering the email? It's because, unfortunately, there is a lot of hierarchy things in the companies where, oh, if it's not coming from this person, I'm not answering. So let's go and try to figure that out as soon as we can, and then sit with the person and say, okay, this is what I need. Is that possible or not? What can I do? And at the same time, solving a problem, I see it that, okay, at that moment it's important, but it's even more important the relationship. So what else can I do to keep feeding that relationship? So in the future, problems might be even smaller, because it's like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. I can help you ahead of time. So that's a little bit of my style. But I think that's at the end of the day. I'm not a person that will apply the escalation thing. I hate that because I feel like at the end of the day, that will come back to you at some point. That's more of a karma thing. So I'd rather sit and say, okay, you don't like this, I don't like it either. What can we do to solve it? Instead of applying these other things. But I understand it all depends on the company and the person as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And in my case, since the program management role is not well known, one thing that I like to do, especially when I'm working with new stakeholders, new teams, I like to share with them more about my role and my responsibilities and how I can support them. In this case, thinking about problem solving as a program manager. What are the things I can do to help in problem solving? In this case, for me, what I can do to help is help to prioritize communication, help to create a risk assessment, task prioritization in program execution, like planning. And also a lot of times I also like to be very clear and candid and honest about how I'm not a product manager, but I'm going to be working with the product managers, and I'm happy to support them because I feel in some cases different teams or maybe some product managers might be threatened by program managers, and they might feel, oh, they want to be the product manager. No, I don't want to be a product manager, but I'm happy to support you. So I try to be very, very clear and transparent about that.
I love that. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've been saying, like, I literally don't want your job. I don't care about your job. You can do your thing. This is what I care. This is what I want to get out of this conversation. This is where both of us can win. So that's it. Very straightforward. And you mentioned something that I think is quite critical, and it's also a responsibility as product manager or in general. That is understanding the language of the different stakeholders, right? Do your homework and go deeper into UX. What are the terms that the UX person is using? Why they get stuck into something? Again, understand the data. Like, why are they struggling with certain things? Because when you speak the same language, you're able to understand better and even being proactive and say, okay, is this what you are stuck at? Or how can I help you? What happens if we, I don't know, take this other approach or whatever? Try to be proactive and learn the same language that the different stakeholders are that you are with.
Yeah, I love that you said that. And I feel as immigrants or first generation, a lot of times we think about the language, about if we work in English, about, oh, my English skills, but it's not about your English skills. It's about you being able to use the language of your industry. So your industry is going to be different and you might be using different wording. And I'm going to share one example. So for me, when I moved to the Bay Area, sorry, my dog is barking. I don't know if you want to take over.
He's alive. That's a good thing.
So, for example, when I was in Brazil, I used to say, oh, I work with digital products because I was from the agency side. I used to work with like physical products, digital products, meaning the internet and apps and software. And then when I moved here, I realized no one says that. They say, I work in products, period. So yes. I think this is one example that is like simple, but sometimes people might get confusing.
Yes, the same with the industry, right? And that's something that you can pick very easily when you understand, let's say, KPIs, when you understand a funnel, in the case of e-commerce, when you understand the terms in fintech, for instance. So that overrides any other things that you might feel uncomfortable with. So it's more about how you say the things than what you're saying, actually. So that's quite critical, type. And it's a secret sauce that you don't realize or don't appreciate the importance until you say, oh, look at this, these guys are those words are something that they resonate with. So that's where the relationship changes, and that's where the opportunity opens for all.
Yeah. And I feel like for me, just to finalize, a lot of times I got stuck in this part because I felt, oh, people are not understanding me because I have an accent, because English is not my first language. But in some cases, they weren't fully understanding me because I wasn't using the industry terms. I think this is the perfect thing for us to finalize our session. Thank you all for your time. Thank you, Gretchen.
Thank you. This was great. Have fun wherever you are and whatever you're doing. Thank you, guys. This is fun.
Thank
You, Ty.
you.
Bye bye.